Let's start the podcast. That doggone NFL does not want to let any of the other professional leagues get any shine. Why do they gotta always be on top? Welcome to episode 10 of Off the Cliff Sports. A football frenzy it is. The NFL and free agency has made it just as exciting as if we were in the regular season. We're going to get into it. Definitely want to thank you all out there. I want to thank all the Everyday Joes and all the Everyday James for listening in, commenting on Instagram, commenting on Twitter. I appreciate you guys. Without you, there's no me, Cliff Jacks. We got a lot of NFL talk. We're going to sprinkle in a few other things as well because it's only right to talk about the other sports. Of course, it's almost playoff time in the NBA, playoff time in the NHL, but the NFL wants to always take front and center stage. Remember, guys, we had one drawing, but we actually talked about it, and we're going to actually have 2 giveaways. Once we hit 65 followers on Instagram, we're going to have a giveaway. And once we hit 65 followers on Twitter, we're also going to do a giveaway. So go ahead, go out there and sign up and follow me. Instagram follow is OfftheCliff_Sports. Go follow that. We post a lot of videos, a lot of pictures of what we find, up-to-date information. On Twitter, @Cliff_Sports. Follow us on Twitter because that's where we post regularly as far as hot topics and things that are found out about right away. We try to get them out there and get it posted to make sure our listeners are aware that we are not just a one-day podcast, but we try to be an everyday Cliff. Off the Cliff Sports want to make sure you get some type of information every day. There's always something going on in the worldwide of sports. Later on in this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about trading LeBron James. I said it, trading LeBron James. I'm not the one that made that comment, though. What are fans' rights when they come to a professional sporting event? What can fans do and what can they not do? You let me know. Also, we're going to talk about players, professional athletes taking back the power from the owners. That's going to be a big topic. And I see a change in the guard. We'll talk about that also. But right now, we're going to get into some NFL because the NFL always wants to be on top. Off the Cliff Sports is on your dial. Antonio Brown, Odell Beckham Jr. Let's get into the stuff. I'm your host, Cliff Jacks. Remember, OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com, and you can listen to all the past episodes. There are some good ones out there. Controversy Sales is one of my favorite. You need to go out there and check it out. The NFL is at it again. Free agency is up on us right now, and what more important to talk about than Antonio Brown being traded to the Oakland Raiders, soon to be the Las Vegas Raiders. It wasn't out of nowhere. No one really knew what team was going to step up to the plate. We knew that the Steelers was going to trade him. We never thought that the Steelers would trade him for so little. You get a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick for arguably one of the top 3 receivers in the game. What type of trade is that? I would have had to keep him, and he would have just been mad, or I would have traded him to one of those teams he didn't want to go with and just talk to their GM and say, hey, maybe you could talk him into staying. If we look at the NBA, the Oklahoma City Thunder talked Paul George into staying in Oklahoma City instead of going home to LA. Anything's possible. But you got to get more than a third and a fifth for Antonio Brown. Top 3 receiver in the game. Some people say 1. I'm more of a Julio Jones fan at 1, so I would give him 2. But hey, he's now Oakland Raider, and right now he's going to be playing with David Carr. Will that last? John Gruden was kind of hard on David Carr last year. He was very vocal about Carr not throwing the ball down the field. That's going to be an interesting dynamic to see what happens in Oakland. Not only did we see one of the top receivers get traded in the game, lo and behold, Odell Beckham Jr. got shipped off to the Cleveland Browns. Now, I'm trying to figure out what the heck was the GM in New York thinking. You just paid Odell Beckham last year a $90 million contract total, not guaranteed, but I think it was about 40 guaranteed. And now you ship him off to the Cleveland Browns. You did get a first and a third for him, and also Jabril Peppers for your secondary. I don't think Peppers is an upgrade over Landon Collins, who you lost, but you got him. The only thing I can say about this trade, you got more for Odell Beckham than the Steelers got for Antonio Brown. Both of these receivers, top 5 receivers, and they both got shipped to somewhere else. I think Antonio Brown got shipped to LA. Hey, you can't beat getting shipped to LA compared to going to the Cleveland Browns. But I think Odell Beckham possibly got shipped to a better team. I'm not as high on Baker Mayfield as a lot of people are. But one thing we know is that he's going to chunk it. He's going to throw it around the yard a lot. So with him throwing it around the yard a lot, this could be a very good situation for Odell Beckham. They also have Jarvis Landry, Odell's friend, one of his best friends, guy he went to college with. So you got 2 buddies on the team there that might help things out a lot. But as the great Deion Sanders said the other day, you only have one football in play at a time. That ball got to get shared with a lot of people, not to mention Cleveland has a very good young tight end. They have Nick Chubb at running back and possibly Kareem Hunt if he ever gets off suspension for kicking someone. It's a lot going on. 2 of the best receivers traded. There are people that say wide receivers are prima donnas. They're not worth the hassle. I personally love wide receivers because they like to dance. They like to show. And so if you let them loose and they score on you, they're going to let you know. I like the players that like to make the game exciting and fun. And most of the time, wide receivers do that. No one can tell me that these 2 guys don't bring their lunch, especially Antonio Brown. He's going to come to play. He works out hard. He puts his workout on Instagram. He puts his workout on Facebook, so you know he works out. So he's going to bring it for Oakland and John Gruden. That could be a pretty good match made in heaven. I was very much questioning John Gruden and what he was doing last year, tanking and all. But after picking up Brown, he signed one of the top offensive linemen to a large contract. His offense is looking better and better every day. And if he's going to build his defense through the draft in a couple years, the Las Vegas Raiders, or if they change the name, whatever they are, probably going to be in title contention. And I would have never saw that coming personally. I'm not scared to admit if I'm wrong. I'm Cliff Jacks. I'm a truthful type brother. I don't know if Odell is going to enjoy the cold weather in Cleveland. It gets cold up there. He played in New York, but New York cold and Cleveland cold is 2 different colds. So we'll see how all that pans out for him. We got a lot of other people that were traded. So we have plenty to talk about in this podcast. Plenty of people moving them places from places. But what were the ownership in Pittsburgh thinking? What was the ownership in New York thinking? I know Antonio Brown and the Steelers owner, they sat down, they had a conversation, and they decided, let's mutually move on from one another. But for you to only get a third and a fifth round pick for one of the top two receivers in the NFL doesn't bode well for you. And the fact that after you made that trade, the Giants, crazy or not, they make a trade and they get a first and a third for a receiver who is not as good as your receiver that you let go. They say this is a game of knowledge and skill, but being in the front office of these sports, it's more judgment calls than most people say. You do got to have some knowledge, but there's a lot of everyday Cliffs. Okay, let me take that back. I'm the only everyday Cliff. There's a lot of everyday Joes and everyday James who I feel can step in and do just as good of a job, and if not better. Some moves you make, some moves you don't. You trade Odell Beckham Jr. because in your eyes he's causing problems. But if you had the right leadership in that locker room, someone that's going to put him in his place and let him know, hey, this is what we do and this is what we don't do, you wouldn't have those type of issues. Your quarterback is old. He's won 2 Super Bowls, and he deserves to have the right type of party as he goes out. But it's time to move on. Now, if he wants to move on in a teaching role to try to help that young quarterback that you bring in, great. But it's time for him to go. The Giants also lost Olivia Vernon, who went to the Browns. And they also lost Landon Collins, who went to a arch rival of the Giants. Things not looking up in New York right now. We're looking down. Sometimes people say you got to go down before you go up. I don't really agree with that, though, especially when you got millions and millions on the line. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. This is just the start of it. I mean, we want to start with these guys because they're exciting and they're going to let us know. The other day, Antonio Brown actually went to visit David Carr at his house. He was so excited. It was kind of funny. It was like a bromance beginning. He hugged the man 4 times in less than a minute. I was like, gee. I know he's excited to get out of Pittsburgh, but is he really excited to get out of Pittsburgh? Ben Roethlisberger and Antonio Brown together is a hell of a quarterback wide receiver combo. I don't know if he's going to have that same type of flair with David Carr. Ever since David Carr got hurt 2 years ago, to me, he's not been the same quarterback. After he got hit, I want to say he had a broken rib. To me, he's never came back from that injury to the David Carr that was before the injury, pre-David Carr, pre-injury. But we'll see as off season and preseason go along. We also are going to see what the Raiders do with that. I did hear that the Raiders cut Jordy Nelson, and they also signed Terrell Williams, the big tall receiver from the Chargers. He's a pretty good receiver to go, a deep threat, a long receiver to go with Brown. So John Gruden, to my dismay, is putting something together, and I'm kind of intrigued and interested now in what the Raiders do. I'm a Bronco fan, so it's always we want the Raiders to lose, but he's making things interesting for us. So, John, let's step up our game in Mile High. Folks, we're going to come back and we're going to go to the top of the cliff. I got a person or some people that we need to escort up to the top of the cliff with me because apparently they like escorting people around. Off the Cliff Sports, episode 10. We'll be back in a minute. Jack's back with you on Off the Cliff Sports. Today we're inviting the New York City professional sports team ownership parties to the top of the cliff, and I would like them to join me. New York City, the Mecca as most people call it, fashion, sports, everything United States begins and ends for the most part in New York City. Lately, the sports in New York City has been pathetic. The ownership parties are awful, and it seems like they just can't get it together. We're not going to talk a lot about the New York Mets. They've been terrible for a long time, and I'm a Mets fan, but they're irrelevant in Major League Baseball. The Yankees are the Yankees. They make money because of their name. They have a couple stars, but they haven't gotten over the hump in a while either. So there's your baseball teams. Let's talk about the New York Giants and their GM, who traded one of the top three receivers in the game away, but he still has a 37-year-old quarterback who can't run, throws a lot of interceptions, and a lot of times doesn't look like he's into playing football anymore. You traded Odell Beckham Jr. after you paid him $20 million last year because you signed him to this giant contract. After this year, you could have kept him at an easy rate, and if you didn't want him anymore, you could have cut him because it was not guaranteed money. Why? It seems like you don't know what's going on, and you're the GM. Last year, you picked Saquon Barkley. He's a stud at running back. Everybody in the NFL knew you needed a quarterback, but you went with running back. So now you have Saquon Barkley, but he doesn't have any receivers, doesn't have a quarterback. So pretty much for the next 2 to 3 years during his prime, he's going to be on a losing ball club. All because of the GM making irrational, terrible decisions. You let go of Landon Collins, one of the top 5 safeties in the NFL. You let go of Olemio Vernon, who his season was up and down, but if he's playing at his best, pretty good player for you. And what you get in return, you have the 17th pick in the first round, you have a third round pick, and you got Jabril Peppers. That 17th pick is going to be very important, I think, with your future as GM for the Giants. But I definitely need to see you up here at the top of the cliff with me. But I don't want you to come alone. I want you to stop by Madison Square Garden and tell Mr. James Dolan that he should come with you. James Dolan's skin is so thin, he told a fan that said, you should sell the team. He told the fan, how about you get banned from my arena and you watch the rest of the games on TV? He told his henchmen to hold that man until security got there and escort him out the building just because he told him to sell the team. How can you be an owner with that much money and that thin of skin? Sounds like you didn't earn that money, honestly. You have the Knicks looking like a joke. From the Phil Jackson experiment to the debacle with Carmelo Anthony, the Knicks hadn't been relevant since the 70s, and I was only born in 77. Think about the Mecca and all the losing sports teams that they have. The New York Jets, they haven't did anything either. I don't even want to talk about the Jets because I still don't think they're going to do a lot. They did make a big free agent pickup, or actually a couple of them. We'll see how those turn out, though. I think Sam Darnold is going to be a solid quarterback for them. The Brooklyn Nets, they're not in New York, so they don't have to worry about it. And they're playing some pretty good ball right now. Exciting ball. A lot more than we can say about the Knicks, who pretty much they're tanking and they're bad at tanking. How can you be bad at losing? That's terrible. So, Mr. Dolan, I want you to come up to the top of the cliff also. So, management of the professional sports teams in New York, how about all you guys just come to the top of the cliff? Now, once you get to the top of the cliff, what you do when you get up there, that's on you. I'm just inviting you up. Guys, we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little more football. We're going to get Mo on the line. He has a few rants about AB and Odell Beckham. We'll see what he got to say next. Off the Cliff Sports. All right, we're back here on Off the Cliff Sports. We got Mo on the line, former TCU running back up to
what up?
LT. How's it going, Mo, out there in La La World?
Man, same old, grinding as usual.
We had a lot going on in the NFL, and I know you got something to say about your boy A Boogie going to Los Angeles.
Man, you got A Boogie with Chucky. Man, Derek Carr gonna show y'all that if you give him some weapons, he a top 10 quarterback. And then they picked up Tyrell Williams not too long ago. I think Gruden making the pieces, man. He an offensive genius, so I think you might want to start watching out for the Raiders in a couple of years. AB pick was a huge pickup.
I did not think Gruden was doing a good job until this week, and now I'm having to rethink that. But I have issues with David Carr. Ever since he got them reels broken, he ain't been the same quarterback.
I don't put everything on David Carr. I just think he had some bad luck. I mean, last year he had nobody to throw it to anyway. So, I mean, he did what he could do. Let's see what he can do with weapons. Quarterbacks only as good as the weapons he's gotten. Only a few quarterbacks don't need weapons and gonna ball. But most quarterbacks, you got to give them some weapons, man.
He had Amari Cooper until they traded him off.
Hey, Amari Cooper drops too many balls. He led the league and dropped balls 2 seasons ago. Second, Gruden said he had no heart, so he's on the ride or die.
Oh wow! So that's what Gruden really was saying, that he ain't had no heart for the game.
He's like, I'm not giving that man no max contract. I need a ride or die.
So I really want to see what they're gonna get from the Cowboys with that pick for Amari Cooper. Now, you also got that boy that likes to dance a lot, Odell Beckham Jr., going to team up with his buddy up there in Cleveland. All right, Mo, so do you think the Browns won this trade, or did you think the Giants got off of a headache?
The Browns won. There's no question about who won the deal. But it might be one of them deals where both teams won, but the outstanding winner right now is the Cleveland Browns. They are, in my eyes, the team to beat in the AFC North.
Wow, over Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh might be third.
Pittsburgh has a defense still.
No, they don't. Their defense is okay. They lost. Pittsburgh got a lot of questions because you lose AB. I like Juju. I love Juju, but Juju ain't never been a number one. So we're going to see what Juju do against double teams. And then Connors, he ain't really faced 8-9-man boxes. Now, we're going to see what does when they say, okay, we're going to stop the run. So I'm going to put, I got Cleveland first, Baltimore second, and then Pittsburgh.
Wow. Interesting.
Because Cleveland looking nice. That lineup, that roster is one of the best rosters in the NFL. You add.
I'm still concerned about the defensive side of the ball.
That defense balling. They got Myles Garrett on the end. They got the young boy corner from Ohio State.
You got a new defensive coordinator though. Greg Robinson was crazy. He was good, but he was crazy. Right. They don't got that anymore.
You're right, but tell me who got as much offensive firepower as these boys got.
The Kansas City Chiefs.
I didn't say in the North.
Oh, no, nobody in that division because that's a ground and pound division.
Right. I didn't say they was the best team in the AFC. I just said the North.
So
I mean,
I don't know. I like the moves that Baltimore made. I think that read option they're gonna run this year gonna be pretty potent.
Well, the thing is, just like when what they had a few years ago with the running backs, the Wildcat.
Yeah.
The defense got a year to figure it out now. So Lamar Jackson gonna have to show us something as far as throwing the ball. Plus, the Baltimore Ravens defense, they're gonna be good, but when you lose three key players, T. Sizzle, C.J. Mosley, and Wett on your back end, yeah, Weddle's older, but he's savvy veteran. Their defense not gonna be the same.
But we got Earl Thomas to replace Weddle. Earl's a better. Yes, Earl signed with them 55 yesterday.
Yeah, Earl and Ingram. I forgot they did get Earl, but we don't know. Earl always get hurt though, so we gotta wait.
That's true. 2 broken legs in like 3 seasons.
Yeah, Earl been very injury prone, and he about getting his money now. Earl ain't the same. He ain't that same dog to me anymore. So I don't think Earl gonna have to show me. But you're right. Earl is a beast, but he don't got that same dog in him. He about his money.
I know Deion Sanders said we only play with one football at a time, so we really gonna determine whether or not Cleveland can manage all this talent.
A question for you: Did Kansas City play with one ball at a time?
That's true. That is true.
Do you understand on offense they got Landry that's gonna be in the slot now. You got ODB out wide. Ain't nobody even talking about the young boy Callaway that balled last year as a rookie from Florida.
Callaway,
Njoku at tight end.
Lots of people that wants the ball. I don't think the Chiefs have this type of flair though. The players the Chiefs got on their high-powered offense are not. They're not Odell Beckham and Landry. Let's just put it that way.
I get that, but what I think is gonna make it work is if it would have been any other superstar receiver they would have brought in, Landry would have had a problem. But since him and Odell go back to the LSU days and they so tight, even since then, I don't think they're gonna have a problem. And Mayfield, he's so cocky, he's slanging it anyway. Everybody gonna eat. Mayfield's slanging it. They're not running that ball that much. They're not ball controlling. He's slanging it.
That could be the problem, I think. They gotta run the ball in the cold weather playing in the North Division.
Well, they got two horses backed up.
Just one.
They got 2.
Who's the other one?
I don't know when the other one gonna get off suspension.
It might not be this year. Just saying, it might not be this year.
You're right. I don't know how long he's gonna be suspended. No, he's not gonna get suspended for the whole year.
He hadn't got suspended yet. That's the point.
But that means he's gonna play some this year. But he's gonna play.
No, he's on that exempt list or whatever that crap is.
Man, yeah, but he's not gonna protest it. So they should have some by the beginning, or I don't think he'll be suspended the whole year. He already missed like the last 4 games last year.
He wasn't on no team though. So that don't count. They say that don't count because he wasn't on the team.
No. What I'm saying is that's not going to be his 4 games is not going to be his suspension. But I'm saying they should have a suspension by the time the season starts. He
getting about 10 games if you ask me.
He might get 10, but that leaves him 6 more to play. It's a 16-game season, and Chubb can hold it down. Chubb just can't catch out the backfield like he can.
Yeah, I like Chubb. I forgot, did Duke leave? Duke Johnson?
They're shopping Duke. I just read that today that they're looking for the shopping Duke right now. So Duke is still there.
They probably want to try to keep him until the trade deadline there.
No, I heard they already shopping him. But hey man, Cleveland was in every game they played last year without ODB, and the thing is, Mayfield is the perfect quarterback for ODB because Mayfield can extend plays, and that's what type of player quarterback ODB needs because he's gonna get open. He's gonna break off routes, understanding. Eli really couldn't do that. Eli couldn't give him the ball. No knock on Eli, but Eli he couldn't throw the deep ball.
And he's slow.
He extend plays.
They should have got a quarterback last year instead of getting a stud running back who they're going to waste the prime of his career.
I'm looking at that. I was like, are they trying to waste this man's career? And then I heard they might not even be looking at old boy from Ohio State.
Yeah, that's a lie. You got to put it out there so people won't run up to get him. Act like you're not interested.
I hope that's the case. But then they might be. Why is everybody so interested in Kyler Murray? I mean, even though I do like Kyler Murray, but I don't think everybody's gonna be in love with him like this.
I don't think Kyler Murray is gonna be successful. He's not Russell Wilson.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. I kind of had your thought process about Kyler Murray until I saw him play against Alabama. Kyler Murray's gonna be a successful NFL quarterback.
You saw the beginning of that game where he did nothing right. When it was 21-0. Remember, it was 21-0, and then the defense changed because at the beginning.
A few things if you watch that game. He didn't play great at the beginning, but they had a lot of 3-and-outs. Plus, their defense did such a bad job of getting the ball back. He was on the sidelines a lot of times. But once he caught his composure and he adjusted to that speed, Alabama had nothing for him. Like, the only reason Alabama won was because they kept scoring. Like, Alabama's defense could do nothing with Kyler Murray.
I mean, I know in high school he won all through high school and all. I just don't think he's gonna be that guy. Now he might be okay, but I don't think he's gonna be that guy I would go and spend a first round pick on.
I would, because tell me this. How many quarterbacks do you know runs through Nick Saban's defense?
A lot, if you actually look at it.
No, not a lot. Only certain ones.
Deshaun Watson.
Exactly. That's what I want to get to. Deshaun Watson, beast in the NFL.
We had Deshaun Watson. Then we had Ohio State one year. So it's a couple running quarterbacks, but he can't run in the NFL. He's gonna have a quick career.
Why he can't run?
Because they gonna hit him.
No, they're not. Because he is down. He's a baseball player. He know how to slide.
I wish him the best.
I'm just saying, man. In today's generation, I think he proved to me in the Alabama game. I think he can play against. I think he'll be a successful college quarterback. He can slang it, man.
I want him to go ahead and go to Arizona so Cliff Kingsbury can fail. I don't like him as a coach. He shouldn't be a coach. It goes back to privilege.
What did
it goes back to privilege. We have a coach there for 1 year, get fired, and you go hire a losing college coach.
You're right, but he a losing college coach that is one of the best spread offensive coaches. His problem in college wasn't the offense.
I was winning.
Well, they couldn't win because of defense.
As Shannon always said, we got L's and dubs. He didn't get a lot of dubs.
But he was at Texas Tech.
And if you're the head coach, you recruiting, so why are you not recruiting players to play defense?
Come on, bro. This is a Texas Tech. He's not out recruiting Texas, Oklahoma, A&M, TCU. He ain't out recruiting them boys.
Understand that, but his offense was good enough to play with him.
Yes, but most of his offensive players weren't good enough to play in the NFL. It was his scheme.
Oh. So we know
how many of his offensive players are in the NFL?
Let's see. Baker Mayfield, Patrick Mahomes. That's all you got to name, right?
Well, one of them can stay there.
That's true. All right, before I let you go, I got to ask you about one of your favorite players. Le'Veon Bell, do you think he screwed this up or you think he got it right?
he got it right because he stuck to his principles.
I totally agree.
Because damn, for $2 million, he felt that he was doing. He felt that Pittsburgh didn't respect him at the end of the day. And if that's what that man felt, and he wanted to prove a point, regardless if he only made $2 million more, because I think I was arguing with somebody with this. They were saying Le'Veon Bell screwed himself $2 million. I said, you can say that, but you can say Pittsburgh did the same thing. It only took $2 more million to pay your franchise running back. So why didn't you give him the money?
Now, did they offer him a contract, or were they just offering the franchise tag? I forgot.
No, they offered him a 5-year, $70 million deal with $33 million guaranteed.
Oh, so they did offer a deal too.
Right, but he wasn't going to see that money. The guarantee, so the difference is $2 million. The guarantee was 33 to 35. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it was like $2 million.
I think he did all right because they wanted to franchise him. If he had took the franchise, he could have got hurt that same year, and then he really would have been screwed. So,
that was after the fact. Before the season started, that was the offer they were trying to give him. So he wouldn't have been playing under a franchise if he was signed a franchise deal, then did that offer, he would have got that deal.
I think they ownership stupid also.
More guaranteed money.
They ownership is stupid also. It's not the Steelers of old anymore.
Like I said, I agree, man. You got to take it. I understand the way they do running back, but he was 26 years old. You could have gave him the guaranteed money at the beginning when he's worth it anyway, and cut him like you're going to cut him anyway when he's 29, 30.
I think it was all about that playoff game when he fell apart against the Patriots and helped them lose because he wasn't out there. That's what it was all about. Let's just be honest. That's it. But the fact that you got a 3rd round pick and a 5th round pick, you should go kill yourself. Okay, I'm sorry. They shouldn't go kill themselves. I take that back.
Are they going to meet you on the cliff?
No, they didn't join it. We had the ownership people in New York join the cliff this week.
Okay.
Because all those owners, including James Dolan, they got some real problems.
And James Dolan should be out there by himself. There's something wrong with this cat.
We call that the Mecca, and they have no sports teams that are irrelevant. Oh, I take that back. The New York Islanders at the top of the division in the hockey NHL. My bad. Sorry, New York.
I haven't been keeping up with it because my star's been giving me headaches. So,
they got a playoff opportunity. They all right.
I know, but God, you got two nice young forwards, and we struggling. So I don't know.
Need more black players in hockey. That's what we need.
We ain't skating on the ice rink, bro. Hey, I'm just happy for the few we got, man. We don't skate well. Go to the ice rinks, you'll see them, man. That may be our kryptonite, bro.
All right. Well, it was great having you on the show this week. A lot more deals. Look like all the big fish are gone. Now teams got to get ready for the draft, which they got to figure out how to shorten the draft.
No, man, the draft is it's the NFL, bro. Everything's about business. They're not shortening nothing. They had the first round, and they go 3 hours on purpose. Why? Because we're all going to watch it. And then they do the second round in another 3 hours, and then they do everything else in the same amount of time it took them to do the first round.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's totally crazy.
So, no. Oh.
Yeah.
A side note. I'm thinking my Bucks need defense, but I saw Megatron Jr. in the combines a few weeks ago.
You talking about Mr. Metcalf?
Yeah, Mr. Metcalf. We might want to go ahead and draft him with the number 5 pick and line him on the other side of Mr. Evans, because I said that man is a monster.
That boy built like a tank, and I'm like, he didn't look like. I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm from Arkansas, so of course I watched the Razorbacks. He didn't look like this like 3 months ago. I'm just throwing it out there. I just threw it out there. Saw him play, and he didn't look like this.
Hey, I wasn't even worried about it until I saw his 40. He ran that 4.33. I was like, what?
Yeah.
40-inch vertical, 4.33 chisel.
You might want to talk to your ownership about letting go of a linebacker. I know he gets hurt this year, but Quan Alexander is a monster.
No, we weren't, and I love Quan, but we weren't paying him all that money. He just tore his ACL.
Yeah, there's a lot of people do that, but you gonna pay his running buddy?
Yeah, we're gonna pay the LeBron already got paid.
So you kept the older of the two. That's what I don't understand.
I mean, we can find another linebacker. I mean, it is what it is.
Hey, okay.
Yeah.
San Francisco said thank you.
we said you're welcome. Enjoy paying him. You'll see him in the middle of the season because he tore his ACL at the middle of the season. So.
You know his deal is not really as bad as you think. They actually could cut him after the first year and only be out of $14 million.
Which is fine, and then we'll pick him right back up when they cut him. So go ahead and do that. He'll come back home, but we'll let y'all test him out.
All right, sir. Great talking to you. Enjoy the show. Talk to you again next time.
Man, appreciate you, man. You be good.
It's always great to have Muhammad on the show. He has a lot of information, a lot of knowledge to go along with our football that we've been talking about so far. A couple other players, notable players that whether you have heard about or not. Nick Foles signed a 4-year, $88 million deal with the Jaguars to be their new quarterback. Bye-bye, Blake Bortles. Earl Thomas got his bag. 4 years from the Ravens, $55 million. I think it's like $23 million guaranteed. So that's shocking. I know a lot of Cowboy fans just knew they were going to get Earl Thomas. Looks like that's not going to happen. So they're going to have to deal with Heath and Woods as their safeties. They're really scary. Offensive lineman Trent Brown played last year for the New England Patriots. Had a great year protecting Tom Brady. He became the highest paid offensive lineman for the Oakland Raiders. 4-year, $66 million total contract. Landon Collins got a big old bag from the Redskins. 6 years, $84 million with $45 million guaranteed. Mark Ingram got 3 years, $15 million from the Ravens. I'm still trying to figure out why the New Orleans Saints did not match that deal. They went out and got 4 years, $14.4 million to Latavius Murray. I definitely, for that, would have kept Mark Ingram to keep him with Kamara because they have such a great relationship. I think that move might hurt the Saints, I believe. We'll see how it works out for them. Last but not least, linebacker C.J. Mosley is going to New York and play for the Jets. 5 years with $51 million guaranteed on an $85 million total contract. That's the big names in free agency, or at least some of the big names in free agency for you. Of course, there's other people as we speak signing contracts, teams getting ready for to draft rookies and get their team together for next year. We'll see how things play out. I can tell you, the players in the NFL especially, definitely the NBA, are taking power back from the owners. You're seeing it a lot now where players are not just settling for the franchise tags and things of that nature. Players are telling owners, hey, I don't want to play for this franchise anymore. You didn't sell me on what you were telling me, or you didn't follow through. So I want to play for this team. LeBron James, one thing he did show players said, hey, play that first contract out, but don't let them get that control. You keep your control, especially in the NBA. Become a free agent, then you have the power. You can decide to go here. You can decide how many years. And it's working in the NBA. And in the NFL, unfortunately, players are having to go about it a different way. But I think they're getting that power. Le'Veon Bell set out a whole year to prove a point and to stand by what he thinks was right, which that franchise tag needs to go. It's terrible for these players. The Cowboys are going through it with one of their defensive ends right now, and if they franchise him this year, he makes one amount, but if they turn around next year and try to franchise him again, he'll make quarterback money, around 30-some million dollars. So this franchise tag, because if he gets hurt next year, they know, okay, we only pay him that year and he's gone. But I see a lot of players saying, hey, we'll sit a season out. One, sitting out that season is going to protect your body, protect your mind from injury. And if you can get that bag that next year, hey, you won. Especially if you're trying to go to another team. Now, Antonio Brown, he went about it a different way. Not necessarily the best way, but he was able to manipulate the situation to get to where he wanted to be or a team that he didn't mind playing for. Owners have to look out and realize that these players are smarter. They're getting a lot of more detailed information, and they're starting to realize, hey, we can work this out where it benefits us and not the people that's already making billions of dollars. I'm on the player side. Get your bag, but get the bag your way, not their way. Be back with you guys in a minute on Off the Cliff Sports. Thank you for listening in. Hey, remember you can reach us OfftheCliff-Sports at gmail.com. Cliff_sports on Twitter. OfftheCliff_sports on Instagram. Don't forget those tags. So let's talk a little bit about what are the fans' rights when you purchase a ticket to an NFL game, or NBA game, an NHL game, an MLB game, professional soccer league. What rights do you have when you step into those arenas or those entertainment venues? We had an incident the other night where Russell Westbrook, my favorite player, got into it with a fan in Utah. Russell said the fan said one thing, and it kind of set Russell off, and Russell told the fan, hey, I'll do something to you, and I'll do something to your wife too if she wants to get involved. Now, the fan afterwards said, oh, I didn't say this, I said this. But, of course, in today's world, social media is everything. As soon as the fan's picture was up there, people were already out on his social media, and they saw a lot of different posts that makes it seem like that fan probably did say what Russell said he said to him. So, you also had another incident one day where a little kid on the court side pushed Russell Westbrook. It was a little push, but Russell didn't know it was a kid or fan. He turned around kind of like, hey, to defend himself, and then he found out it was a kid. You see it a lot where fans are doing things that they really don't have a business doing because, hey, you purchase your ticket to watch the entertainment, to cheer on your team, to boo the other team, but there's certain things you can do and you can't. And belittling the players, throwing things, there's things like that that fans can't do, and they need to realize, hey, if I go to this venue, I need to act with dignity and class and enjoy the entertainment. I mean, the flip side of that, you had a fan in New York that all he did was tell the owner, hey, sell the team. And this owner, who is a terrible owner, you probably heard about him a little bit earlier in the show, he told the fan, how about you don't come to any more games here and you watch them on TV? And he called for security to escort the gentleman out the stands. That's ridiculous. There's a line that fans got to realize, hey, I can't say what I want to say, to be honest. There's some things I can't say to these players because at the end of the day, most everyday Joes or everyday Janes, they're not about that life. Now, I did say most because there are some of us out there that, hey, we'll get with one of these players if it has to be. But you got to make sure you don't say the wrong thing to the wrong person. I'm just happy that a lot of players like Russell Westbrook realize, okay, I can't go up in the stands, and kept some type of composure where he didn't make this situation a lot worse than it already is. Fans, you're fans. Please don't interject yourself into the professional sports if that's not what you do. That's just my opinion. What's your opinion? Tweet me. Post on Instagram and let me know what you think about it. What should fans do to have a happy medium? We don't want to be like hockey and have glass around the court or anything like that, because you really at that point, with hockey, it's for safety more than anything, but still, it's a way to kind of protect the players and protect the fans so they can't get to each other. But let's just figure it out. Entertainment is what it is. It's entertainment. Let's stop taking it so personal. Remember, you can't tell anybody anything because that's what you wouldn't do that in your everyday life. Quick takes coming up, folks. We're going to do a few quick takes. Quote of the day on deck. And we'll get you out of here. Off the Cliff Sports. Coming back at you in a moment. Off the Cliff Sports. Cliff Jack's back with you. Quick take segments for the day. Jeff Van Gundy had the nerves to make a statement about the Lakers should think about trading LeBron James. Why would you say something like that? Was the game that you were calling that bad that you wanted to say they should think about trading LeBron James? You don't trade the best player in basketball. You don't trade the king. If you're the Lakers, you're lucky that he decided to come to your franchise. Now, that and winning, that's two different things. He's with a team with the talent level is limited. He doesn't have any shooters. LeBron James always have teams with shooters. It's a very important part of his game is to be able to drive and kick. So that's one of the demise. His first year ever getting seriously injured. Missed a pretty good amount of games. That's the other part that hurt. Also, the fact of getting his family adjusted to LA played a role, I believe, in this season. I mean, it's kind of new to all of them. His kids are growing. He wants to be in their lives and be part of what's happening with that. There's a lot of things LeBron has to get used to. He wasn't in the comfort of Akron, Ohio, or in Miami with Wade and Bosh, where he had buddies and families to mesh with. So next year for the Lakers should definitely be different. I would think it'd be different, whether it be a championship season or not. Who knows? The Players Golf Championship starts up Thursday. And of course, our guy Tiger Woods, he said he's healthy. He said his neck's not bothering him. So he's going to be out there performing. We want to see Tiger win one of these big events like this. Once he wins an event like this, it's going to send golf into a frenzy, just like football frenzy. It's going to have more fans watching, more merchandise sold. This is what golf needs to go get back to another level if Tiger comes out and wins one of these big tournaments like the Players. Of course, we're looking for majors for Tiger. We're not looking for the other stuff. It's all about majors. You got to watch out for some of those young ones. Dustin Johnson still there, number one player in the world. You have Koepka, who looks like he's a bodybuilder out there playing golf. So, and then you have Jordan Spieth, McIlroy. So you have some players out there who's not scared to compete, but at the end of the day, 50% of us is watching because of Tiger Woods. Last and definitely not least, it's March Madness time. NCAA tournament will start next Thursday. And before our next podcast, of course, the tournament would have already been started. So I'm going to throw these picks out there for my Final Four picks, although the seeding and everything hasn't been made yet. So I'm just kind of throwing this out there. Right now, I think North Carolina, I think Gonzaga. I'm also go ahead and go with Michigan State and Tennessee to get to the Final Four. I don't have those Duke Blue Devils. Let me be honest, I'm not a Duke Blue Devil fan. I just love those freshmen they got. Those freshmen entertain me. I don't think they're going to be able to win in the tournament or go all the way because their shooting is atrocious. Athletic wise, they got it, but if a team can keep it packed in, make them shoot that rock, it's not a good thing for them. So, again, that's North Carolina, Gonzaga, Michigan State, and Tennessee as my Final Four. I'm a little hesitant on that Michigan State pick because they always seem to let me down, but we're going to put them there for now. I kind of want to swap them and Virginia out, but we'll see how things pan out, and we'll see what seeding and brackets everybody's in. And also, I think I told you last week, for the ladies NCAA tournament, I have Baylor, UConn, Notre Dame, and Mississippi State going to the Final Four. And I think Mississippi State is my sleeper to win it all. So there you have it. We're coming back with quote of the day on Off the Cliff Sports. Stay tuned. Remember to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Give your chance to win a giveaway. Twitter account at Cliff_Sports. Instagram account OfftheCliff_Sports. Once we get to 65 followers on either of the two social media outlets, we're going to do giveaways for both. You also can listen to all the episodes OfftheCliff-Sports.podbean.com. Check us out. Your quote today is going to come from one of the baddest track and field athletes of all time, Jackie Joyner-Kersee. And the quote is, "Age is no barrier. It's a limitation you put on your mind." One more time. Age is no barrier. It's a limitation you put on your mind. From the great Jackie Joyner-Kersee. It's been a great show. Talk to Mo today. He had a lot to say about the NFL. It's always a pleasure sharing my opinion with you guys, Everyday Joes, Everyday Janes. I appreciate you listening. You're my fans. I'm your fan. Let's keep this thing rolling forward. Episode 10, Off the Cliff Sports. This is your host, Cliff Jacks. Until next time, peace.